Let's see.
My room is 8.
Bam, that's all right. My background's off. So we are live here with another amazing show brought to you by Spartan, Spartan Combat, Spartan Nationals, Spartan Races, all things Spartan. Pretty cool. We have another amazing athlete in our country, Vito Arujau. There's a whole lineage of the Arujaus that are pretty badass in wrestling. He's a 4-time New York State champ. I got that right? Because last night, everybody out there, I know I screwed up. I called Yanni a 2-timer and not a 3-timer. I got the messages. Thank you, everybody.
Yanni's actually a 4-time state champ as well.
Yeah, I called him a 2-time national champ instead of a 3-timer. Yanni could give a shit. Yanni's like, haha, no, don't worry. I'm cool with it, right?
Yeah.
The people out there that are Yanni fans got it. So I want to make sure I got everything right today, everybody. And just so you know, I apologize to Yanni, everybody out there. He could care less about that, but I didn't. But 4-time New York State champ, Pan Am champ, U.S. national champ, trials runner-up. And this year I got to watch him take 3rd at the NCAAs. And man, pretty cool. I mean, you're in a weight class that is just absolutely loaded. It was fun to watch this year. And I'm sure we'll see you at the top of the podium there shortly. But man, Spartan Athlete, Cornell great. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. Happy to be
here. I got all the other stuff out of the way, right? People attacking me about Yanni's 2-timer instead of 3-timer.
Yes.
And you know, it wasn't about that, everybody. It was about the Spartan Nationals coming up, okay? Everybody sign up. Well, anyway, that is one of the main purposes that we're having these Spartan athletes on this week. We had Yanni yesterday. We've got Vito Arujau today. We've got David Carr tomorrow. We've got Welker on Thursday. And you're going to see all these amazing athletes at the Spartan Nationals, right? You guys are coming in. When do you guys come into town?
Of course. I'll be in town on the 6th. So I'll be there whole time. I'm actually teaching a clinic on the 6th in Orlando. And I'll be in Jacksonville on the 7th. And, you know, I'll be there for the entirety of the tournament. And I'll just kind of be hanging around doing whatever sort of tasks I'm sure Joe's set up for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk about that real quick before we get into the Spartan Nationals. That's exciting, man. First of all, these kids getting to meet you. I mean, everyone knows when you're a young kid and you get an opportunity to meet one of your idols or someone you look up to, it can make a difference in your life. But prior to the Spartan Nationals, I'm hearing that you and Nate Carr are going to be doing some clinics down here at the it is known publicly as CFWA at LHP. It has transitioned to Spartan RTC down here in the Southeast. So at the Spartan RTC, yeah, you guys are coming down, right? So Nate's coming in Saturday. You're coming in Wednesday to do some clinics there. Man, talk about, you know, why should kids come out to, first of all, Lake Highland Prep and CFWA and the Spartan RTC, but to get an opportunity, Nate on Saturday, you on Wednesday. I mean, how much better can it get?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely good resources. I mean, that's the reason why you should go, obviously. You know, Spartan RTC is doing things like getting high level clinicians like myself and Nate down into Florida and, you know, trying to spread our knowledge of the sport. So I'm excited. You know, I'm going to show off some of the techniques that I use frequently and that I think will help, you know, grow, you know, people's ability, you know, their mindsets. Really, I want to try to broaden their views on how wrestling can be done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you guys were down there last year. I remember bringing my son to one of your clinics and just getting to see the way that you and your dad kind of do things is kind of incredible. And the technique you teach is unbelievable. And, you know, I haven't been to a Nate Carr clinic. Nate Carr will be here Saturday again. Saturday it'll be 9 to 12 on the Rumble. And then Wednesday afternoon, Vito. But man, what a chance to learn from two greats, right?
Yeah, I mean, me and my dad definitely have a very special relationship. You know, we've gotten closer and definitely we've evolved into different teaching styles, but the base is the same. You know, he definitely I mean, he taught me how to wrestle. So a lot of our thought process kind of, we agree on a lot of different positions and stuff. And he's much more sound in the basics. He doesn't do a whole lot of flashy moves. He just hits you with such good fundamentals that there's really, no gaps in his defense, no way to counter his offense. He's just all around a fantastic wrestler. I mean, and he's, plus 50 years old at this point. So the fact that he can get out there and still demonstrate with such precise timing is honestly mind blowing to me. And, that's my dad. So, and I obviously, I'm going to come in and try to show these people, these kids, maybe a new way to think about wrestling, a new way to kind of think about like utilizing angles and, creating pressure and a push pull. And, I obviously use a lot of arm drags. So I drag a lot. I, try to apply pressure in different angles to, throw my opponent off balance. So these are things that I'm going to go over in the clinic on Wednesday. And, I'm excited to get down there. Florida's, I hear, is pretty nice this time of year. So
Yeah, so can't wait to have you. I mean, and then transition 3 days later or 2 days later. Or, I mean, maybe, well, the next day's weigh in, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 8th, 9th, 10th is Spartan Nationals.
mhm.
So one really, really cool thing, we're going to talk to Vito about kind of what he's looking forward to being down here and being around the youth and being at something like this. But we've got great offer right now. We're trying to build up the individual side of the tournament. The duels is pretty locked in right now.
Mhm.
But we've got $75 to compete in all 3 classes. It's a sale going on right now for a final push to build up the individual side. On top of that, if you wrestle all 3, you're going to get a Spartan shirt, and you can have all 4 of the athletes sign it. You can pick the athlete of your choice. You can only have Vito sign it. We can have Vito sign it and put have nuts, but you might want Yanni to have it put have nuts. But you can get them all on there. It's going to be a great opportunity. And then everybody's name that wrestles all 3 is going to get put into a raffle, and you're going to get your chance to choose a private lesson from one of these 4 amazing athletes. So they've all been on the world stage, they've all been on the international stage, and they all been here in our country doing big things. So that's kind of what we're offering out there for them to come in and kind of be a part of this. What are you looking forward to the most about, the season's over, so now it's your time to kind of give back to the sport, right?
Yeah, I kind of look at these tournaments that I go to that I don't compete in is kind of like, little mini vacations. I get to go and kind of just enjoy myself and, not have to cut weight, and I get to just watch wrestling. I love interacting with young kids that come up to me like, come on, love talking to them. I'm a big people person, so if you see me at Spartan Nationals, don't hesitate, come up and say hi. I really don't mind at all. I just love the idea of when I was younger and I got to maybe see Kyle Dake walking around, and I was like, oh, is that Kyle Dake? Can we go say hi? And my dad would just be like, Kyle, come here. Wave over, like, being when I was younger, my dad was, everyone knew my dad was just this random Russian guy. But yeah, I always thought it was so cool that I got the opportunity to meet high level wrestlers at a young age. So I'm just trying to kind of do the same for someone else.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. I spoke to Yanni yesterday, now you, then David. We're gonna have Callie on. But when you guys go out and do these, he was telling me you guys are really accessible. A lot of times you hear about one of your favorite athletes is going to be wherever, and then you go out to meet them, and they've got them hidden behind a table, behind clothes, signing posters. And I'm sure you'll be signing plenty of that stuff too. But from what I understand, you guys are going to be mingling with the kids, watching them wrestle, grabbing them when they come off the mat, and kind of, hey man, try this, try that. You're going to be accessible for them to grab you and just pick your brain and talk to you about, maybe with you, it's more freestyle stuff, right? And just asking questions and things like that. Is that what usually takes place when you're out and about as a Spartan athlete?
Not usually, but this particular tournament, I will definitely be out and about. I'll be definitely very accessible, and like I said, if you see me during the tournament, I'd really you know appreciate if you came up and said hi. I'll definitely be watching some wrestling. It's kind of what I like to do, so I'm sure it'll be a fun tournament, fun weekend, and I get to meet a bunch of my fans or just meet someone new.
Yeah, man, it's I can't wait to meet you in person. Like I said, I got to meet your dad at the clinics last year, and then I got to have him on the show, and it was fantastic. And I've got questions, right? But also, I put in the comments here. For some reason, it pasted the same comments from yesterday, so it shows Yanni's name up in the comments. Everybody, it is Vito. If you don't know how they look, it is Vito. Don't worry, when I get off the air, I'm going to edit the Yanni to say Vito Arujau. So please don't attack me. It is Vito. They have been together since they were like 7 years old, so they might as well be brothers. But they're here today. Yeah, so that's cool, and you're going to be available for autographs, photos, pictures.
Okay.
And, talk about that a little bit. What did it mean to you to be? How many times does a young kid get to meet somebody like you, and now they've got somebody to say, okay, wow, I want to be like Vito, and now that sends them home and drives them. I met that guy. He told me this one little thing, and that little thing turned me from average to good, good to great, made me push hard. Um,
I
you
mean,
said you met Kyle Dake. What did that mean?
that's the story, isn't it? That's kind of, I guess, why I do this. Why I put so much time into the sport and so much time, refining my craft. I want to, be that role model for someone. I obviously I'm doing this for me because I want to be great in the sport of wrestling. I want to, etch my name into the history as one of the best to do it. So, but I love making an impact on someone. So I will be there. I will be signing autographs. I will be kind of devoting myself to this tournament. So, um, like I said, don't be a stranger. Come say hi.
Yeah. I somebody just posted on here. So we have a coach in our state. He does a lot of he still does wrestling. He does a lot of MMA stuff.
Um,
His name is Desmond Moore, and apparently you guys
I wrestled him.
yeah.
Yeah, I did. I wrestled him in the first round of the U.S. Open in 2019, I think.
Oh,
Same
how,
season I wrestled Spencer, actually.
how
I caught
did it turn out for him? Did
first round, off the whistle. I think he shoots, gets to my legs, and sits in my butt. And then I lock up a head pinch, I think. And yeah, he was very close to the takedown, and then I ended up throwing him for a 4, and then I think I got one takedown and a leg lace maybe.
and that was all she wrote. I love Desmond, man. What's up, Desmond? If you hear this eventually, cool.
Actually
So,
met Desmond at a later point. Real cool guy. So
yeah, nice guy.
yeah.
So picks and autographs, picking his brains. I mean, like talk about this. Talk about I don't want you to answer every question because I want people to come out and actually ask you questions and get to pick your brain by being there. But something again, Spartan Nationals, April 8th through the 10th. All 4 of these amazing athletes are going to be there. Vito will be there. But they're going to be putting on clinics, and they're going to be putting on little side shows where you can come over and kind of talk to them. They're going to be signing out. They're going to be taking pictures with you. If anybody out there, if Vito's your guy and that's somebody you always wanted to meet, please let us know. We'll make sure we get you up to them and get you in front of them. Vito, so Kristen Suarez, we have a great kid from Florida that's up there with you. Kristen Suarez asked, how does it feel being teammates with Julian Ramirez?
Actually, Julian is one of my roommates. I live with Julian. So,
There you go.
you
So
know,
some days are better than others. No.
no, I love Julian. Julian's a real good teammate. He puts in the work. I think he realized early on in the season that he's one of the better guys in the country, and that it's very in sight to get on that podium and have a run in a national title. So he was very motivated and put in the work, and I was surprised from him, that someone who was a bit young was able to kind of take on that role and understand that role. So he put in the work. My heart hurts for him that he was so close but didn't quite get there.
That blood round match,
Yeah.
I was sitting like 20 rows up from that mat, and I'm watching the match, and when that guy gets to turn with like 1 second left, my heart just,
It's tough.
like when you go down a roller coaster, that's how I felt.
Oh, I know. But I have a lot of high hopes for Julian. He is still young. He's got, this was his freshman year, so he's got three more years of eligibility left at Cornell, and I'm sure he's gonna get on that podium more than once. He just needs to stay focused and be disciplined and do all the right things, and those are the most important part for anyone trying to reach the top of a podium. When there's hundreds of people all competing for the same thing, you got to show that have something more than everyone else. A little bit of sacrifice goes a long way, and I kind of think that's a little bit of what Spartan's all about. Just a little bit of sacrifice for the sake of something greater. So I have all the confidence in the world for Julian. It's definitely very heartbreaking, but he'll be back.
Yeah, it was fun to watch him make that little bit of a run and then get to the blood round, and and we were watching all the down here in Florida. I was at the tournament, but I was keeping an eye on all our Florida kids that made it. I think we had 11 or something that had got to the tournament, and obviously he was one of them. And yeah, that one was close. What's it? Coming down to Spartan Nationals, big tournament, a lot of kids from all ages. What is one thing that you probably get asked the most when you come down and you're in front of around a group like that?
Um, I'm not quite sure. It's usually a little different every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something as simple as can I have an autograph, and they give them the autograph, and they thank you, and they turn around and run away.
They're scared and they run.
Yeah,
What's it like now being able to travel with guys and girls like Yanni and Welker and Carr? Like when you guys are walking into a venue, and now, I mean, you're one of the greats that everyone's there to see. How cool is it to be with them, and then also to be able to share this with them, giving back to the community? I know you and Yanni have been friends for a million years probably, and
yeah. Me and Yanni met when we were in 8th grade. Started out as a bit of rivals, and then we were kind of one day just like, hey, like, we're the two best kids in the state. Do you want to start training together? So I started, hosting him. He would host me, and we started training together. And that's kind of how our relationship kind of went. And we kept training together until we made world teams together. We both committed to Cornell. So and then we're close with David as well. Me and David made the same cadet world team back, I don't even know what year. It was a while ago, but I've known him since probably 6-7 years. So
it's kind of cool during the off season to get back together and all be with Spartan, and coming down to Spartan Nationals, and getting to just be around all these young kids, the future of our sport, right?
Yeah, of course. I want to, kind of how, like, when I was a kid, I wanted to, I mean, when I was a kid, like, they're still around, Jordan, Kyle, and David Taylor, they're not really going anywhere. So
They're there. So one of the dads just asked me, Vito, you mentioned your special relationship with your father. What's a good tip for dads out there who are training their kids in the sport like your dad did with you?
it's a very, very complex dynamic, kind of, because you gotta kind of maneuver around being father and having a loving relationship with your kid, but also being a coach where you have to kind of teach them how bad life sucks sometimes. So it's definitely it gets better with time. I'd say my relationship with my father improved vastly when I went off to college, and I was kind of at that point where we could have a dialogue. you know um Kids are kids. It's not easy anywhere, whether your dad's an Olympian or your dad's just doesn't know wrestling at all, and it's tough. So I would say try to not be screaming in his face constantly or something along those lines. But I mean, it's just keep at it and try to work that communication through.
Yeah, and we've only got about 30 minutes with him here. All these questions are great questions to sit with him on the side of the mat, watch your son wrestle, and get to kind of talk with him and ask him all these things at Spartan Nationals, April 8th through the 10th. Also, get out to Lake Highland Prep, CFWA, Spartan, RTC, however you know it as, to see him put on a great clinic. Get out there Saturday to see Nate Carr, as we spoke about earlier. I had your dad on, I don't know, last summer, and there's a lot I may ask you when I see you at the tournament, because I want to save all that for where we could just shoot the bull, right? But one thing that really stuck out to me, because I think as a parent, we see it with our kids all the time, is the ups and downs and the frustrations of weight cutting, and then the attitudes, and then that's it, I'm not going to make weight, I'm scared, I'm not going to go 138, I got to make 3 pounds, I got to go, I'm too small for this weight, I'm too big for this weight. I mean, I remember your dad telling me, I made Vito wrestle 150 pounders for a season, or he would come home and he wouldn't want to eat dinner because he had to make a certain weight the next day, and mom was like, nope, you eat dinner, you don't wrestle. And a lot of what he told me was I wasn't training. We got state championships, and that was just something that we earned in the process.
Yeah.
But I was building college kids. I was building kids who can compete in college, learn in college, and compete on the world stage. And it just so happened we were able to earn what we earned in high school. What's your thought process on the weight cutting?
The weight cutting is, it kind of just goes hand in hand with the sport, and it sucks. It's never fun cutting weight. I'm never like, oh yes, I'm so looking forward to cutting this weight.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the sport and it's part of the job. So I mean, it's just as how you don't want to wake up and be late to work in the morning. I can't step on that scale and weigh anything over than what it is. It's as simple as that. You have to go to work to make some money to put some food on the table. Well, I gotta step on the scale and weigh this much so I can go and do the thing that I like to do.
And how do you keep two things? How do you keep your mind focused on the task at hand? The other question I had, which might be different, is going that weight. Why do you think your dad made you, during the off season or whatever, wrestle 2 weights above just to do it? What did that do for you?
My dad didn't really put a lot of emphasis. He didn't want to burn us out. When I was in high school, I put a lot of emphasis on just the process of trying to get better at wrestling. The biggest issue with losing weight is when you go into practice and your mind is set on losing weight and not about getting better at wrestling. That's the most difficult aspect to deal with when you are losing weight. That's really it. Obviously you don't feel well, but like the hardest part about losing weight is, there's times where you find yourself where you're just coming into practice to lose weight. You didn't actually learn anything. You didn't get better in any position. And that's the issue. So I think my dad, by telling me, my senior year in high school, I wrestled 138 during the season. After Christmas, it was 140, you know. And, you know, I'm 125 pound. That's what I wrestle at now. I wrestle at 125. And it's not like my body changed drastically. I'm just losing weight now. You know, during my senior year season, I probably weighed 136, 137. I just wrestled 138. Obviously, I could have wrestled 132, lost like 4 pounds, but it just there was no incentive for me.
And the weight, because you hear a lot that, oh, if I go too heavy, I'm going to lose these matches. If I go too light, whatever. It obviously didn't affect you. You went like 216-1 or something in your 4 years in high school or something. So
It is no more.
it didn't seem. I might be off. Hey guys, if you're on Wikipedia and you've got the exact number, my bad.
Yeah,
But,
I think
but
it's 16.
yeah, so that's awesome. Just something that is good for these young kids to know out there, because I see firsthand the struggles with that by being around the sport, right? And having two
I
kids at
mean,
home.
it's just I don't go out there worried about, you know, the weight loss. I just want to, at least in high school, you know, obviously it's a little different now. I compete against a much higher caliber of athlete, where losing weight's kind of like, you know, part of the job at this point. You know, part of competing at the higher levels. But especially when I was in high school, you know, I just wanted to get better at wrestling. I wanted to get out there and learn, and, you know, probably wasn't super guilty of it at certain times, but, you know, I just wanted to get better at wrestling. You know, I think
So you weren't like one of these guys that went in with like all your sweatsuits on just to cut weight. You went in to get a practice.
yeah, you know, I definitely have I put that with a much higher importance now that, you know, I am 22 years old and I've been around the sport for so long, and now I understand, you know, what my dad was seeing. You know, you kind of have a kid's viewpoint at that time. You know, you just go in, you know, hang out with your friends, pick them up sometimes, put them down a little bit. You know, you don't really think about it too much. But now that, you know, I kind of understand that other level of working. You know, it is just about going in every day and getting a little bit better every single day. You know,
That's awesome. And
build knowledge and experience.
yeah, again, Vito is going to be live in person, not on a screen, at the Spartan Nationals. He's also going to be Wednesday afternoon at CFWA Spartan RTC over there by Lake Highland Prep. I know that Miss Palazzo and everybody will be sending out stuff, and we'll have everything so you guys, everyone out there knows exact times and dates. But man, get out there, get to see these guys. Sign up. Remember, sign up for all 3 classes, all 3 styles. Get your chance to get a signed autograph shirt, and then get your name thrown in this raffle. I mean, that's pretty cool if you can win the raffle and get a one-on-one with one of these amazing athletes. That's going to be a moment for you to cherish and remember the rest of your life. It's going to be really cool.
Plus, you might learn something pretty cool.
Yeah, you might learn something pretty cool. You know, before we go, how important is mindset, and how did you have it immediately, or did the mindset have to catch up with the work and the technique and the process?
You know, the mindset is something that, you know, you have to constantly be working at. You know, I don't, you know, even now my mindset gets tested sometimes. You know, you get a bad call, you just have a bad day at practice, you know. So, you know, some days aren't good, some moments aren't great. But I think it's about just that constant reinforcement of resilience, and just knowing that, you know, I'm stronger than this moment, and, you know, I will be all right in the future. And, you know, I think it's just one of those things where you have to give it constant attention. You know, you can't let your mindset fall behind. It's like a muscle group. You know, it's something that needs to be trained, and you need to exercise it, and you know, go in one day and just have a absolute burner of a day and just test your mentality. You know, take yourself to deep waters and see if you can swim type deal. And, you know, I just want to constantly grow that mentality, and
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that we saw at nationals, right? And Yanni spoke about it last night when he came off that semifinal match when he made that great quote, right? But he said, he goes, I wasn't in the right mindset. I was really upset with myself, and I've gotten into that mindset before, and it's cost me matches. And I knew
oh
that
yeah,
I wasn't doing the right thing, and I had to make the adjustment.
even us, even Kyle, Jordan Burroughs, there's times where you have to, where your mindset, your mentality falters. So just everyone's struggling, but you just got to be all right.
Yeah, man. And Jeremy Garcia, just to answer your question, Nate Carr Saturday, Rumble clinic with Nate Carr on Saturday at CFWA. I know I think it's called the Spartan RTC now, or I know it's called the Spartan RTC, but everybody knows it as CFWA. And then Wednesday afternoon, Vito Arujau will be there.
Saturday, as in this Saturday of April 2nd is when Nick Carr will be going. I'll be going April 6th at the Spartan RGC. And then we'll have Spartan Nationals rolling through the weekend, 8, 9, and 10. And then we'll have ourselves a good week of wrestling.
Yeah, man, come out, learn something, have a great time. And I mean, we know we're going to see the gold on every level around this young man's neck. God willing, he's putting in the work, and come learn some of that stuff. Again, I got to watch my son at one of their family's clinics last year at CFWA, and it's really cool. His dad is so simple and makes it so easy to understand, but the moves work. And
simple as push, pull, single leg, and you just can't stop it. I'm like, all right, well, I see it. I see my dad teach now, and I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't realize he was so fucking good. I was like,
next Wednesday, Jeremy, April 6th. Yeah, like he was grabbing big dudes, and he was doing the same thing to them that he was doing to someone his own weight.
Oh, of course.
That's awesome. Well, hey man, I look forward to finally meeting you in person and getting to say thank you for coming on. Again, all these great Spartan athletes are coming on all week. We have David Carr coming on tomorrow, Kylie Welker. The next day, you can go back and listen to yesterday's with Yanni. But come out and meet these guys. They're all going to be out there. They're all going to be accessible. They're not going to be hiding from anybody. And they want to watch your kid wrestle. They want to help your kid get better. They want to make memories for them, pictures and autographs, and they'll be very accessible. So come out, see them. Also get out to CFWA, Spartan RTC, Lake Highland Prep, however you know it as, to get into the Nate Carr Clinic on Saturday, and then Wednesday, Vito Arujau. Who knows? Maybe Vogar will show up, right? He knows his boy's in town. He might make the drive up from Palm Beach. So you never know. Hey man, great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for talking. Again, from the conversation with your dad about the Russian and the international stuff, I have so many questions. We could do this for 2 hours, but I'll hit you up when we get out there.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.